The NFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today, bet 100 and get 100 free at WynnBET at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. We are also brought to you by the SGPN Thanksgiving Free Roll. Everyone who hits a free bingo, football bingo that is, in our contest will win $100 cash and a $100 gift card to the SGPN store, exclusively on the SGPN app. And welcome, everyone, to another edition of the NFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Tuesday this time instead of Wednesday, November the 22nd, same time, different day. Thank you to everybody for the schedule change, being flexible. We're going a day early because of Thanksgiving, giving people the content so that they can have for their wherever they're going for the Thanksgiving weekend travel-wise. I am joined by my co-host every week, Mr. Old Fashioned Football, J. Mark. J. Mark, what's going on, man?
Did you lose a bet? You got a nice clean shave going on there?
Yeah, you know what? I figured I'm going home this weekend to see my family. I cleaned it up a little bit. Honestly, I had an obligation I had to fulfill. So, unfortunately, shout out to Moonoff in the chat. Who the hell is this guy hosting? Yeah, this is my twin. Unfortunately, I will have my facial hair back here soon. So, shout out to the chat.
Had to give you a hard time.
No, trust me, I am not happy about not having my facial hair. But it'll be back here soon. So I guess I'm naked for a little bit.
There you go. Maybe it'll bring us luck this week.
Yeah, no. You know what? It's week 12 already. I say that every week, but it's crazy. This time we said Thanksgiving will be here before we know it, and it is here. Thoughts on the games from this past weekend headed into week number 12?
Well, obviously, I was disappointed again that the Bears couldn't pull through. And gosh, I've liked our coaching this past 4 or 5 weeks or whatever. But Fields obviously hurting, and they do a design quarterback run. Pissed me off. But there were a lot of good other games. Just the afternoon slate, I was surprised to see the Cowboys destroy the Vikings. Kind of made the Vikings look like how you and I talked about them earlier in the year, that they were fraudulent. And the Cowboys made them look fraudulent.
Yeah, fraudulent was an understatement with that beatdown of a game. I did not see that coming. I was on Dallas, but I mean, I thought it was a tough spot for Minnesota coming off the big Buffalo win and the Washington win the week before. They had no business winning either of those games, but they did, and it kind of caught up to them. They came out a little flat against Dallas, but you got to give the Cowboys credit. That defensive line is nasty, and they gave Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins didn't have a shot all day to throw the ball.
No, not at all. And hey, your Commanders keep on winning.
I was about to say, picks-wise, record-wise, it wasn't the greatest week, around 500, but your lock hit, and both our locks hit.
Yep.
I had on the graphic, I had Buffalo. That was a sweat, though. -7.5, and they win by 8. So shout out to Josh Allen for getting it done for me. But yeah, no, yours wasn't a sweat at all. That game was over as soon as Davis Mills threw that pick six to Kendall Fuller.
Yeah, yep. That really set the tone for the game for sure. So, and that's why I locked up on the show and the graphic, and then on the show, I think you locked the Patriots, and that hit as well. So, our locks both hit. That's nice.
I forgot I did the Patriots on the show and then the Bills. Both were very sweaty because the Patriots had no business covering that number. I can't believe that the Jets lost that way. But, I mean, this is the New York Jets we're talking about. They cannot beat the Patriots for some reason.
And now, quarterback controversy. Robert Saleh says he's not going to commit to Zach Wilson remaining the starting quarterback. And I saw a lot of people on the socials say, like, oh, it's Mike White time. Well, no, they're probably going back to Joe Flacco. I mean, he was doing pretty good to start the season.
I'm with you. I thought Flacco was actually all right, serviceable during that couple game stretch. I want to go back to your lock, though, because it is my team. Am I being too optimistic to think that maybe Washington is a sneaky contender in the NFC?
I don't think so. I mean, because they've won 4 of the last 5.
5 out of 6.
5 out of 6. So,
Yeah.
I mean, keep that rolling. Keep Heinicke in there. There's no business or no reason to switch Wentz back in when he's healthy. Heinicke has his team believing. And, I mean, it's not impossible, especially with that 7th playoff spot that we've talked
Yeah.
about. Now, is it possible that we see every team in that division make the playoffs?
I think so. Like I was going through it the other. I said this to everybody all weekend. I'm like, am I crazy for thinking this is a team that could actually win a playoff game or two? Because I'm looking at it. They just beat Philly and they just beat Minnesota the last couple of weeks. Or sorry, they almost beat Minnesota. They were toe to toe with the 2 top teams. It seems like San Francisco is kind of pulling away a little bit in terms of who the favorite is. I know the Eagles record wise, but with all these Eagles injuries, I think they're as vulnerable as they've been. And then I think the Vikings as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I don't see any reason why they can't make a playoff push for sure. And Chase
Yeah.
Young's coming back. That's going to elevate an already very well performing defense.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's even going to make them even better, obviously. So I don't see why not.
Yeah, no, I'm fired up, and there's no better brand of football than defensive football. So yeah, I'm fired up for this playoff push. It's nice to have a team in there come Thanksgiving time. I know your Bears are struggling, but hey, maybe they could play spoiler down the stretch.
You know what? I honestly, at this point, we have the 3rd pick in the draft. I'm okay with them continuing to lose. There's no reason to play Justin Fields if he's hurt, except in 2 weeks against the Packers.
I was about to say, you just want to end the Packers season.
Yes. If we beat the Packers, that's all I care about the rest of the year.
Yeah,
and just since we're friends and co-hosts, I'll be rooting for the Commanders to make a playoff push. So,
hey, we're gonna have the XFL show hopefully here soon. But shout out to the XFL, Taylor Heinicke's former home.
That's right. That's right. People kind of sleep on those spring leagues, but there are players that can come in and make a difference. I mean, from
PJ
the USFL,
Walker.
Yeah, PJ Walker, and from the USFL last year, we got Kavonte Turpin returning kicks for your favorite team, the Dallas Cowgirls.
I tell you what, that guy's electric, though. I will say that. So it's easy to root for these XFL, USFL guys. Any spring football league, those guys get slept on, and I'm glad whenever any of them get an opportunity and they run with it.
Absolutely.
Well, let's dive into week number 12. But before we do that, plenty of games to bet on this weekend. And if you're going to do so, you need to do so over at WynnBET. Ready to win money and boost your odds today? WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. We're bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. Exclusive rewards are right at your fingertips at Win Rewards at WynnBET. Be on the lookout for WynnBET Witch Hour. Sorry, that is a tongue twister every single time. WynnBET Win Hour each Thursday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. During WynnBET Win Hour, marquee games of the week will have better odds on WynnBET, giving you a larger payout opportunity. Great promos, odds, and payouts are happening right now at WynnBET. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport, WynnBET has what you need to win today. Ready to play? Sign up today to receive a special offer. Bet 100 to win 100. There's so much to choose from. All you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET so that they know that we sent you. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. And offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the same state where you play. WynnBET is available. If you or someone has a gambling problem, please call 1-800-522-4700. All right.
Gambling problems. It's all right.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. You got college basketball going on. You got the NBA. Obviously, we got our NFL going on. College football. We got rivalries. I mean, who isn't gambling this week?
The World Cup. I mean,
honestly, if you're not gambling, you probably need to call that number.
That's right.
Because there's something wrong with you. But hey, you know what? Let's dive into these games real quick. Let's lead off in Florida, where the Jacksonville Jaguars are taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens kind of not laid an egg last week because they did win 13-3, but went through the motions. Boring game, over under 43.5. J Mark, where are you going in this game? This is a kind of a low number, I think, for a 7-3 Ravens team.
I agree, especially when the Jaguars have been all right on offense, but they've not been good covering necessarily. And if you think about it, if you really break down these teams, the Ravens should be one of the favorites come playoff time for the AFC. You got your Bills, you got the Chiefs and the Ravens. I think Ravens could be a sneaky team in the playoffs, not getting a lot of credit, but I think they're not getting a lot of credit because they're not blowing anybody out really. The past 2-3 weeks they've played close games. I think this is the time where they turn it on. They show everybody like, hey, stop talking about the Bills and the Chiefs because we're in this too. So I like them to win by a lot, actually. I see this being a 14-point game, something they should have done last week, but they didn't. Like you said, went through the motions, played an NFC team, slow. And I think that changes this week. I think they go down to Florida, they enjoy some of that nice weather and win by a lot. How about you?
I'm going with the home dog here.
Okay.
I think every time it seems like Lamar goes down to Florida, he struggles. When I know he just won in Tampa, but whenever he goes down to Miami, he has struggled. And I also with the Jaguars, I feel like I feel like a broken record. I feel like they're better than their record is. Just like I felt like Minnesota was not as good as their record. And that proved so on Sunday when they got drilled by Dallas. So I think Jacksonville coming off the bye, they were competitive in that Kansas City game. If the kicker just makes a couple field goals, it was
Mhm.
coming right down to the wire. But I'm going to take the Jaguars to cover this and have a chance to win it. I just think the Jaguars are going to be a little feisty coming down the stretch under Doug Peterson in year one out of the bye. I think the bye came at the right time.
Yeah, no, they did have 2 weeks to prepare for this Ravens team, so that definitely is going to help in their favor. I just think the Ravens, they gotta do something to, show some flash, because they do look their offense almost looks like it's struggling, and, they did lose Bateman, but I didn't think he was that major of a piece.
Yeah.
Maybe it's been Mark Andrews being out, he missed a couple games, but he was back last week. I just think they got to get going. Their run game has been kind of struggling all year, aside from Lamar. So these are things that they just need to focus on so that they can make that playoff push and run deep in the playoffs. And I think it starts this weekend. It'll be interesting.
I was going to ask you, what do you make of these Ravens? Obviously, they're in the middle of the AFC North division race. Cincinnati 6-4, right on their heels. They will have to go to Cincinnati later in the year, pulling up their schedule. When is that game? Is that game week 18? That
I,
game
I don't know off the top of my head.
is, of course, whenever you need the thing to load, it doesn't load. Yeah, week 18, January 8th. So I feel like those two are on a collision course to match up for the division coming down the stretch.
For sure.
So it's going to be interesting. Do you think they end up holding on in the AFC North?
I do. I think, the Roquan addition, I think it probably took him a while, but he's starting to be that same linebacker I saw in Chicago, flying all over the field, making tackles where it counts. And I think that's one of the reasons they have a really good chance to kind of blow the Jags out, because I think he's going to be very detrimental to stopping the run, stopping Travis Etienne from running all over, and force them to pass and kind of start pushing some turnovers that way.
Indeed. Let's move on to the next game where Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming off the big Germany win. They are laying 3.5 in Cleveland in the dog pound, over under 43. Give us a reason why we should take the Browns, J. Mark.
I just think the Bucs, we've said it all year, overrated. The reason they're getting points here is because they've had a couple good games. I get that. But I don't think that's them throwing it together. I think they've just been able to put a couple good games together, not necessarily turn their season around, put together. And these Browns, they're feisty. The Browns are a feisty team. Jacoby Brissett, stuck with the Bills and Josh Allen for quite a while. I mean, he passed the ball a lot better than I expected him to on that Bills defense. And I expect him to do more of the same. I think they're going to get the ground game going more with Chubb. And so I like the Browns to cover here. Maybe win, maybe cover by 3, lose by 3, but I like them to cover the 3.5.
I'm with you. I love the Browns here. I think they get back to their bread and butter back at the dog pound. Last time they were there, they annihilated the Bengals. I think they're going to run the ball with Chubb and Hunt on Sunday. And Brissett was okay against the Bills, like you said. He was able to manufacture some yards, but for this Cleveland team to be successful, it's got to be on the ground. And I'm with you on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know they've won 2 in a row, but I just can't see them blowing anybody out as well. If they do win, I think they win it on the last second field goal or something along the lines of that. But I'm still far away from buying into this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team completely.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And it's not going to be cold, but I think it'll be a little bit cold in Cleveland there. Tom Brady, he's an old guy. He's not going to like that cold weather. So I think that works in the Browns' favor.
Yeah, no, Brady has lost in Cleveland before too. I remember the one game where Peyton Hillis ran for 1,000 yards. It felt like on New England. So shout out to Peyton Hillis. The Browns sitting at 3-7 overall. Obviously, they got to get this one to even have a chance to get back in the playoff race. As for Tampa Bay, that it seems like they're going to win the NFC South. I know Atlanta's on their heels technically, but that division is just so bad. It feels like they can just go 8-9 and get in the playoffs. You agree?
Yep, absolutely. And then I think once they get in the playoffs, they get cooked like they did last year.
Yeah, no, I think they're the 4 seed. I don't see Tampa Bay going on a run, but it goes back to my point on the NFC. Like, I think you can make a case for multiple teams this year in that NFC being wide open. Like it's not like the AFC with Buffalo and Kansas City.
Yep, agreed.
And speaking of the AFC, the New York Football Jets, coming off a heartbreaker, are taking on J. Mark's Chicago Bears, who are also coming off a heartbreakers last couple weeks with the Lions lost the week before that. Jets are laying 4.5, low total, over under at 39.5. The big headline out of Chicago this week, the status of Justin Fields with his injury. As a Bears insider, fill us in on what we're doing, how we're handicapping Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears going forward.
Yeah, so he's got a dislocated shoulder. His hamstrings were also bothering him, probably because he's been running, all over the field for hundreds and hundreds of yards the past 5 games. But the coach came out and said he's day-to-day or could miss the rest of the season. Whatever that means, I have no idea.
Read between the lines.
Right, yeah. I think they sit him this game. They're playing for nothing at this point. So I think they sit him, the rest of them. There's no point getting them more banged up, especially when you got the Packers next week. That's a big game for the Bears organization, for Bears fans, for the players who continually lose to these Packers and are tired of losing to the Packers. So I think Fields sits this week, which I believe that would mean we would see Trevor Siemian as our backup quarterback. We also have Nathan Peterman. So, the backups are kind of the who's who of backups. And,
yeah, no doubt.
And because of that, is struggling as the Jets have been, I'm going to take the Jets in the 4.5. Maybe I'm trying to jinx them a little bit here and by taking them, because the last 2 weeks I've taken my Bears. It hasn't worked out. So yeah, I'm going to take the Jets in the 4.5 points here. How about you?
And looking at the Bears have scored 24 or more in 4 straight, actually 5 straight since that Washington Thursday night game. The Jets, on the other hand, can't score. Now, I know we're waiting to see if Fields plays or not, but I think that I don't see the Jets being able to score enough to run away with this thing. Even if Justin Fields does sit, I could see the Bears just running the ball and simplifying the game for Trevor Siemian. And there's a lot of drama going on in New York right now with Zach Wilson, if he's going to play or not. And it kind of felt like a dream crusher game last week against the Patriots, losing for a 14th straight time against them now. And I'll lean the Bears, but I would like to get a bigger number if Justin Fields does sit.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It'll be interesting because the last, AFC team we played, the Patriots, we beat them handedly.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting if they come out and maybe it's an AFC trend where the Bears play well against those AFC teams. I don't know. And Trevor Siemian, as bad as he has been in the past for the Broncos and everywhere he's bounced around, he did look all right in preseason. So, he could definitely be a guy that manages the game all right, especially because this is a Bears team that focuses on the run. I just think our offense has been as successful as it's been because of Fields using his legs, extending plays, etc. So yeah, I'm totally fading us this week. Maybe it'll work out in my favor. I'm okay taking the loss in my picks if it means the Bears win.
No doubt. And I'm with you in terms of these backup quarterbacks. They can pop up for one or two games. We've seen it with Colt McCoy in Arizona winning a game, or Andy Dalton. Hell, Taylor Heinicke for me. I mean, he's won
Exactly.
more
Yeah.
than one. He's won five. But yeah, no, we sometimes the backup can pop up for a game and light it up. So something to monitor. But monitor Justin Fields' status going into Sunday, because it is obvious that they are a completely different offense with or without Justin Fields. He is their offense, kind of like Lamar is with Baltimore and Jalen Hurts was in Philly.
Absolutely. And just, Bears fans got to love that they have a guy tough enough that he dislocates his shoulder, keeps playing in the game. And, as bad as it is being 3-8, we have a lot to be hopeful for. So I'm just hanging on to that. Keep losing. We got the third pick in the draft right now. Go ahead and keep losing, except against the Packers next week, and I'm fine with it.
I'm with you. I think there are better days ahead in the Chicago Bears franchise. I know I've said that before too, as I know you have. So I'm hoping it
Every year.
actually means that. So. Well, before we dive into our next 4 games on the slate, I got to get us paid one more time. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody this week and safe travels. If you're looking to put a little action, make sure you go check out our Thanksgiving free roll. If you like Super Bowl squares, you're going to love what we have for DGens on Thanksgiving. Our friends at Play Action Pools have set us up with a football bingo contest for Thursday's slate. It's simple to join and free to play at the SGPN app. Once you enter, you'll see your unique bingo card on the screen. Whenever a touchdown is scored on Thursday, check your card to see if you have that player. If you do so, check the box. And if you get bingo, you'll win $100 cash and a $100 SGPN gift card. That is on the SGPN app. Sorry, I can't talk. So make sure you have that and check your bingo card today. All righty, J. Mark. And
have you gotten yours yet?
No, I was going to do so tomorrow. I'm traveling tomorrow, so as soon as I arrive where I'm going with my clean shaved beard now, I will do so tomorrow.
I got mine. I got a couple that look promising. Couple lines here. I have a diagonal line that's DeAndre Swift, Devin Singletary, Josh Allen over 1.5 pass touchdowns, Dawson Knox, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I feel good about that one.
I was going to say, if I can get Josh Allen, I'll feel pretty good.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's move along in the slate. And this is probably the game of the early slate in terms of quality teams. Cincinnati, coming off the big win in Pittsburgh, is headed to Nashville, Tennessee, where they ended the Titans' playoff hopes last year. They're laying 2, over under 42.5. What's your take on this game? This is an intriguing game. 2 teams that are playing pretty good football.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be lower scoring than people think as well.
Agreed.
I know Joe Mixon may miss because of his concussion. I don't think that hurts the Bengals as much as you would think, because Samaje Perine fills in pretty nicely. So I think I'm rolling with the Bengals here. I do like how the Titans kind of opened up the pass, got Treylon Burks kind of back in the game there and had some big plays with him. I just like this Bengals team to stay feisty enough to win by 3 and cover the 2 points here. How about you?
I love the Bengals here. I think this is a good spot for them. Tennessee, I mean, you got to give them credit. They just always, kind of like Minnesota, they find ways to win games, even though they probably shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen it with Tennessee when they play these elite quarterbacks, they struggle. And I mean, they sacked Joe Burrow 10 times in the playoff game last year and still couldn't beat them because of how much better Joe Burrow is than Ryan Tannehill. So I'm going to ride with the Bengals as well. I know this could be a revenge angle for Vrabel, the end of their season, but I just don't think it matters. I think Cincinnati and Joe Burrow are the better football team, and I think they're going to go into Nashville and get a much needed win to stay in that AFC North race.
Yep, agreed.
And Tennessee pretty much has the division wrapped up, so they can afford a loss too. So the desperate team angle, I think, also favors Cincinnati. What do you think of Tennessee in the AFC playoff picture? Do you think they have any shot at going on a run? I know it seems like every time they get there, they're so limited offensively with their style of play that they're more suited for the regular season, obviously being the number 1 seed last year.
Yeah, no, I agree that they are more suited for the regular season. If you stop this run, it's hard for them to win games. Now they've started to open it up a little bit more. Robert Woods has had some good plays. Treylon Burks has had some plays now that he's back. I just don't see them being a team that can stick in a battle if, they have to play from behind, if they're down by 14. I don't see them being the type of team that can overcome that kind of adversity and win the game. So I think once they hit the playoffs, they're going to have some tougher matchups. They're going to be, get their backs against the rope, as you would say, and not be able to come back from that. What do you think?
No, I agree with you. Them being so one-dimensional and relying on Derrick Henry, I think hurts them come playoff time. I know a couple of years ago they were able to go on a little mini run and get to the AFC Championship, but whenever they get matched up with one of these elite quarterbacks, whether it's a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, or Joe Burrow, they're just too limited offensively to keep pace.
Yeah, Vrabel's going to have to promise he'll cut off his dick again if they win the Super Bowl, if they want to push far in the playoffs.
That makes me want to root for the Titans to see if that actually happens. Oh man, I gotta love Vrabel. Let's go to this next matchup, and this is probably the dud of the early slate. Houston is a bad football team. I saw it last week, and your guy Lovie Smith, God bless him, he's dealt a tough hand down there in Houston, and they're going to Miami, South Beach, and the Dolphins are laying 13, over under 46. Any chance that Houston keeps this within 2 scores?
I'm back and forth on this one, and Moonoff might still be lingering in this chat, so I'm afraid to say. Dolphins are coming healthy, though, off that bye, and I think that hurts the Texans' chance right now. They're at home, and besides Damian Pierce, this Texans team doesn't have a lot going for them. I know Brandon Cooks is a good receiver, but Lovey's another coach who's saying we're going to look at the quarterback in every position and decide what we need to do. So we may not have Davis Mills. We might have Kyle Allen starting. And I just think it's kind of a mess right now. The one thing they can hang their hat on is that Damian Pierce is a stud. He's going to be a good running back for them for a while. But I think the Dolphins light this up. I think they go out there, they have some fun. Yeah. Waddle and Hill run all over and just kind of light up the scoreboard.
I'm with you. I saw that Houston team, and I just don't see how they slow down this Miami offense down there in South Beach. Whenever they get going down there on that fast track, they're tough. The weather's warm. Tua's clearly a better quarterback when the weather's warm versus when he's got to go to a Buffalo or New England when it's windy and cold. Mm-hmm. So I just think this Miami offense is dynamic with Hill and Waddle on the outside, running the ball as well with the Shanahan scheme. I look for Miami to roll this thing, win by 20 plus. I actually think this number is going to go close to 14 come kickoff.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I actually think, I think the number's a little short. Which means you probably should take the Texans, but this thing is going to go to 2 touchdowns come kickoff. I'm predicting right now.
Yep, agreed.
Well, we are seeing eye to eye on that one, and of course, we are going to go to the game of the day. Just kidding. For me, it's the game of the day. Atlanta going to DC, nation's capital. This is actually a huge game in terms of the NFC playoff race because Atlanta's 5-6, Washington 6-5. All of a sudden, shout out to my team. Laying 4, over under 42. What do you think here, man?
Oh, I locked your Commanders last week. I know the Falcons are good against the spread as a dog, but this Commanders team is just believing in themselves. And the Falcons, they did all right against the Bears, but the Bears completely shut down their pass in that second half. I think it was a little fluky that the Falcons ended up winning. And if you look at the Commanders defense and the Bears defense, no offense to my team, but the Commanders have a much better defense. So if they can kind of play off of that with how that pass was shut down, no Kyle Pitts. I know he hasn't made a huge impact this year, but he still gets targeted a lot. And so the defense is always focused on him. He's out for at least 4 games. So I don't see any way the Commanders don't win this by at least a touchdown. You're taking them, right? You got to.
Yeah, no, I was pessimistic last week, and I was beyond impressed. I know they played the Houston Texans, who are the worst team in football, but still, I thought that was the typical letdown spot. From being neutral here, I don't see how now Kyle Pitts is out for the year, it sounds like. He's definitely out for this game. But I just don't see how Atlanta's going to move the ball on them. And this, I mean, bias aside, this Washington defense is nasty. And they're elite. They're an elite run defense with John Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat, and they're going to get Chase Young, it sounds like, back as well. They're going to make Atlanta throw the ball like Philly couldn't run the ball on them. Dallas couldn't run the ball on them. Dameon Pierce has run on everybody, and he could only get 10 yards on Washington. That's, I mean, when I saw that, I was like, wow. So I'm taking my team. This is potential lock worthy, so I'm a little worried. Maybe I'll just not lock it just so I don't jinx it. But I think this is a great matchup with making Mariota a passer on Sunday.
Yep, I agree.
And I mean, have the Falcons peaked? Do we agree on that too?
I think so. I think this team has been figured out. They can run the ball well, yeah, but they can't pass the ball well. They do now and then, but they're not a consistent passing team. They're throwing it almost the least as low as many times as the Bears are, which is saying something. So, I think they've peaked. I think it was a nice story to begin with at the beginning of the season, but I don't think it's going to go any further.
No, I agree with you. And honestly, Arthur Smith has done an unbelievable job, but we saw it in that Carolina game. I think it's a similar game to that where Washington gets up early and they make Mariota into a passer. And when he's a predictable passer, he's not very good. He's a backup for a reason, or he's been a backup for a reason. So I think if Washington can just continue to shut down that Cardell Patterson running game, I think I look for them to roll on Sunday with the Heinicke under center, baby.
Absolutely.
That would make it 6 out of 7. So knock on wood, hope it comes true. And that'll get us into the final game of the slate. And I know everybody's been waiting to hear our take on this game because these two teams are rolling in the wrong direction. Denver -2.5. Nathaniel Hackett, I guess, is still the coach. Going down to Carolina, and the over-under is set at 36. No, this is not a Thursday night football game. Jay, Mark, what do we do here, man? These two teams are bad football teams.
They are bad. They're very bad. So, I look at the defenses, and I think the Broncos have a better defense, obviously. The quarterbacks, gosh, it's hard to say Russell Wilson's better than anybody right now, but he is better than Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Unless PJ Walker happens to be back, but it doesn't sound like that's very hopeful. So I think it's Baker again. So the only thing I'm concerned with is the Broncos run game. They cut Melvin Gordon because of his fumbles. Chase Edmonds, high ankle sprain. That means you got Latavius Murray, and I believe his backup is going to be Marlon Mack. So that could be scary, especially if Murray gets hurt. Can you rely on Mack? But I just think this Panthers team is bad. I don't think they can even have the drive anymore to win games. Like, they looked good initially after that CMC trade. They stayed competitive. But I think a lot of that was PJ Walker was doing a good job managing the game. So I'm going to take the Broncos to win by 3. It doesn't feel good to take the Broncos, but I don't see the Panthers pulling this out. How about you?
I have gone back and forth. I'm going to go with the Panthers because I actually think they've been okay at home this year. They've been really bad on the road. I'm thinking this game's going to be like 10-9. Like I keep seeing that stat with the Broncos where if they just score 18 points every game, they'd be 9-1 right now. And the fact that they're 3-7 shows how awful that offense has been, and they're still a quarterback away, even with the trade for Russell Wilson. I'll ride with the Panthers here as the home dog. Honestly, the over/under 36 isn't low enough. I think it should be like Iowa Rutgers low in terms of Big Ten, baby. Right up your alley.
Absolutely.
And be closer to 30 because I don't see these teams scoring more than 17 points each.
No, I agree. Hey, those Hawkeye unders have been just money in the bank. I mean, it's been easy money.
You're gonna ride that all the way to the Big Ten championship to get whacked by Ohio State or Michigan.
Yeah, isn't it crazy that they're 2 wins away from being in the Rose Bowl for as bad as they've looked all year? But yeah, no, I agree with you. Both these teams are just gross. I don't want to root for any one of them. I don't want to pick this because I don't want to root for either one of these teams to win the game. But I can definitely see what you're saying, and I agree. If there's any play on this, it's the under for sure.
Yeah. I really do like him. We'll get into this next segment here with the tease, lock dog and tease. I do like Carolina as a tease candidate here because neither of these two teams are running away from each other.
Right. Agreed.
So that's a perfect transition into our next segment, J Mark. And let's go to our lock dog and tease where we've been on a little bit of a good streak here, hitting our lock and dog. So let's keep it rolling. Where are you going for your lock and dog? Lead it off with the lock. Sorry.
Second week in a row, I'm locking your Commanders up to win by 4. Almost went with the Jets, but I don't want to jinx my team that much. So I'm gonna go with the Commanders to win by. Let's do it by 10. They're gonna win by 10 at least. How about you?
J Mark is locking up the Washington Commandos, and I am joining him. Nothing could go wrong here, right?
Right.
So we are both locking up Washington minus the 4 against the Atlanta Falcons. I'm sure you agree. I think that this number is going to probably go up a little bit with Kyle Pitts being out. So I like the number we're getting minus 4. Where are you going for your dog?
I'm gonna fade old man Brady at the dog pound. I'm going to take those Browns to come away with the win here. It's a small dog, plus 140, I think, but plus 160. So I'll take that. I think they're going to make these Bucs look like the earlier Bucs this year, where everybody's like they're cooked and that Brady's done. I think that's what the Browns are going to do: run it down their throat, limit their points, and win the game.
I like it. I'll go to another smaller dog. I'm going to take Jacksonville. Plus 175 on the money line to get it done against Lamar and Baltimore. I think that they come out of the bye and they play well for Doug Peterson. And I'm actually putting together, as we speak, a current round robin between Jacksonville, Cleveland, and another home dog I liked was Carolina. And that would pay, got it up right here, that would be 14-1. So if you want to get in on a little Thanksgiving, post-Thanksgiving dessert, parlay action, round robin, Jacksonville, Cleveland, and Carolina to win 14-1, a little home puppy action. So that's where I'm going. Where are you going with your teas?
Yeah, and first of all, we're not going to tell you how to gamble, but if you like 3 dogs, round robin is the way to go. I've done that since I started gambling, and I love round robin plays. Even when I'm not doing all dogs and I'm doing spreads, I just love the round robin. So love that you threw that in there.
The sweat.
Yeah, exactly. So for Go ahead.
I said for college basketball, it's great.
Yeah,
because dogs hit left and right in college athletics.
Yep, and you call them. I've been watching the show. You've been calling those dogs.
I try. Hey, go check out the college basketball experience.
Absolutely. So for my tease, I'm going to start with the Dolphins to only have to win by 7. That seems pretty easy. The Bengals tease them to plus 5. I think they're going to run away with that on the Titans, so that seems easy. And then kind of double dipping here, going to take the Commanders at plus 2 because I don't think there's any way they lose to the Falcons.
I like that. I already mentioned one of the legs. I'm taking Carolina plus 8.5. I will tease Miami down to 7. I like that angle as well. I'm going to tease your Bears up to plus 10.5 and cross those crucial numbers. I can't see the Jets blowing anybody out, so I will take those 3 for my tease, and that's what we'll ride with going into Thanksgiving weekend.
I like it.
And, of course, J Mark, before we get up on out of here, tell everybody where to find you. For those watching on YouTube, you can see his Twitter handle right there.
Yep, follow me at JMark Football. Check out Old Fashioned Football. Check out the XFL gambling page that we have now. Check out all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah. And you guys need to go check out Old Fashioned Football because fantasy playoffs are coming right around the corner. Some even start this week, I believe.
Yeah, we got I have one that starts, I guess, next week. But, yeah, I think some do start this week.
Yeah, shit. It'll be here before we know it. And, everybody wants to win their fantasy championship headed into get a little extra Christmas money for gifts.
That's right.
So, yeah, go check out J Mark's work. You guys can find me on Twitter at Moneyline_Mac in the Discord as well. Go check out the college basketball experience that we hinted at. Me and Colby are on there every single night around midnight Eastern. So if you want some daily late evening action and entertainment, go check us out. Also over on the Propcast with Moonoff here and there. So stop in whenever he invites me. So I'm honored to, or when he gets tired of Rod and he needs a winning day, he brings me in.
That's right.
So yeah, go check out all our shows. College football experience. We got the big Michigan Ohio State game this weekend. Other games, the Iron Bowl. Other games that have playoff implications. Go check out the NBA gambling podcast. Go check out the World Cup. And then before you know, it'll be XFL gambling podcast as well.
Absolutely.
But you got any Thanksgiving plans this weekend other than just hanging out with the family?
Just hanging out with the family, watching some football. I can usually get my father-in-law to bet a piece of silver. We bet silver pieces on games, so I'm sure we'll make a bet.
Yeah. Now he's a Packers fan, right?
That's my wife's mom's side. So he actually goes for the Vikings normally. Unfortunately.
Oh, so he's having a good year. Well,
yeah.
So who did they play? New England Thanksgiving night.
Yep. Which I actually like New England because it's fake Kirk Cousins in primetime.
I know all about fake Kirk Cousins in primetime.
Exactly.
No, I'm with you there. Now, looking forward to spending some time with the family this weekend as well, and watching football and college basketball and college football. I mean, it's just a action-packed weekend of sports. This is one of the better sports weekends of the year, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody have a safe Thanksgiving, have an enjoyable Thanksgiving, and we are thankful for you listening.
Indeed we are, and we hope that this gives you something to listen to for wherever you're going. And so, like J. Mark said, safe travels. And most importantly, if you are betting this weekend, don't forget to let it ride.